It's election day in New York, and Republicans are preparing for their nightmare, which is Zohran Mamdani becoming the next mayor of New York City. House Republicans are exploring ways to prevent Mamdani from being sworn in. The New York Young Republican Club is pushing to prevent the New York City mayoral frontrunner from taking the oath of office on January 1st under an idea floated this summer. It cites language in the post-Civil War 14th Amendment to the Constitution barring from office anyone who engaged in insurrection or rebellion, or who has given aid or comfort to the enemies of the nation. The group argues that Mamdani's own statements calling to resist ICE could violate the prohibition. There is a real and legitimate push to see the insurrectionist Zohran Mamdani either A, removed from the ballot, or B, removed from office if he is to win on Tuesday. Stefano Forte, president of the New York Young Republicans, told the Post. Republican lawmakers are keyed in on the idea and are considering rolling out legislation on it once the government shutdown ends, sources told the New York Post. It is the same provision Colorado used to try to kick Trump off the ballot last year. Now, as with most things we cover, of course, there is some hypocrisy because they're trying to use the insurrection provision to block Mamdani, but yet they didn't care about January 6th, and they didn't see January 6th as an insurrection. In fact, they celebrated it. The New York Young Republicans Club had a January 6th pardon party. Meanwhile, Cuomo got some last minute endorsements that he may not be happy about. One from Elon Musk, who decided to go the childish route, posting, "Remember to vote tomorrow in New York. Bear in mind that a vote for Curtis is really a vote for Mamdani or whatever his name is. Vote Cuomo." And the other from Trump, who says Mamdani both has no record and a record of failure. Make that one make sense, but here he is on Truth Social. If communist candidate Zohran Mamdani wins the election for mayor of New York City, it is highly unlikely that I will be contributing federal funds other than the very minimum as required to my beloved first home, because of the fact that as a communist, this once great city has zero chance of success or even survival. It can only get worse with a communist at the helm. And I don't want to send, as president, good money after bad. It is my obligation to run the nation, and it is my strong conviction that New York City will be a complete and total economic and social disaster should Mamdani win. And he went on, says he was a complete and total failure. He has no chance to bring New York City back to its former glory. And he said, ends with, whether you personally like Andrew Cuomo or not, you really have no choice. You must vote for him and hope he does a fantastic job. He added this: any Jewish person that votes for Zohran Mamdani, a proven self and professed Jew hater, is a stupid person. I mean, there's that part of it, Trey, and also these prominent right-wing figures. You have billionaire Elon Musk, you have Donald Trump throwing their support behind Andrew Cuomo, who ran in the Democratic primary. What do you make of this race, and what do you think the meltdowns are going to be like if and when Zohran wins?
Yeah, I think it's interesting. Well, first of all, that thing about the New York Young Republicans trying to make a plan to keep him from being sworn in, if and when he does win a fair election, is like, that's just another good example of how troubled things have really gotten and how far we follow him, because that's the type of thing that I feel strongly that no one on either side would have dared to even attempt, let alone like publicly plan for not all that long ago. That was used to be the one thing we could all agree on is, America's a democracy, the will of the people carries, or at least we all pretend to believe that, if he wins, if the people of New York vote for him, then that should be that. The idea that they're openly plotting to subvert that somehow through legal chicanery and loopholes and stuff. And it's the type of thing that would have and should have been a massive scandal politically if it even came out that they were planning that in secret not that long ago. And now it's just, people barely even bat an eye at that type of story, which is pretty damning and upsetting. As far as the race itself, I mean, yeah, to me, it's been framed, not just framed. I mean, I think it's not an inaccurate way to describe it, that it's, sort of it's like an ideological showdown on the left between like an old school sort of centrist Democrat versus like, young, exciting, actual progressive or whatever. And to me, you need to look no farther than the fact that, like you just said, Elon Musk and Donald Trump have endorsed the former, because of how afraid they are of the latter. Like, to me, that should be all you really need to know about what the future of the party writ large, should be. Like, there's a reason for that. They wouldn't be doing that if the best way forward for the American left was Cuomo style, Democrat politics. So, yeah, I mean, it seems pretty cut and dry from where I'm sitting.
Yeah. And I will remind viewers that Cuomo tried to distinguish himself from Mamdani by saying he was the only one that could stand up to Donald Trump. So why is Trump endorsing you if that's the case? Why does Trump feel so comfortable throwing his support behind you and not Sliwa? And like you're saying, that tells you everything you know about what Cuomo would do if he were to be elected. But polling seems to indicate across the board that will not happen, and then he can stop pretending like he lives in New York City.